Greg Miller, you got to play Star Wars Outlaws.
Yes.
Tell me all about it.
I think the easiest summation is obviously when you go to an E3 or an SGF, there are the JW conversations you have. You bump into an old friend, you bump into somebody you haven't seen in 6 months since the Game Awards or something, and they go, "Oh, how's your show? What's the best thing you've seen?" I said to anybody who asked me at the end of the day, well, I have the boring answer and then the interesting answer, right? The boring answer is that Star Wars Outlaws was phenomenal. It's my game of the show. It is the one I can't wait for. It caught me off guard in that realm because, of course, I went to the Ubisoft offsite to play this and watch a presentation about Assassin's Creed. And I would have going in excited about Star Wars, but I'm like, this Assassin's Creed is so up my alley, right? To get to sit down and play 3 missions in this, 20 minutes apiece, or they would have timed out at 20 minutes. It was a little short, I think, in each one of them. 3 different missions than what you've seen today. They weren't these. I was legitimately like, holy shit, blown away. This is, especially for Assassin's Creed, but here as well, like you do need to go back and watch this in 4K. This game is gorgeous. That was the first thing that I found stunning about it. And then I think we've had so many questions about how does shooting feel? What about this? This didn't demo that well. On sticks, I didn't have those issues. On sticks, I thought it felt very smooth, very natural. I think they did a good job of setting up Kay and how her blaster works, and that you're this scoundrel, as they obviously drove home today. They drove through in the message before we played. And again, after having played it, now legitimately at the top of my holy shit, I can't wait to get my hands on this game. Like, my hope is that they stick with that. Because these 3 missions all felt very much like what you've all been talking about in your thing here of just living in this world, just existing in this world, taking the mission, going and doing the thing. Yeah, yes, Julian said, you are assembling a team here to go off on the ultimate heist and yada, yada, yada. However, the things I played were 3 different missions. One was called False Flag. This was a dogfighting mission is how it was described. The next was The Wreck, which would be a more exploration-based mission. The next one was The Relic, where I had to get a relic and bring it back for one of the factions. I jumped right to The Wreck. It was a crashed High Republic ship. It had been down a while. It's derelict, you know what I mean? And it was all right, let's go in there and do that. This had the atmosphere you'd want from that. When I say that, it had the climbing, and I think it set off really what I feel I want from this game and where we're going for, which is that open world, but it is Uncharted. Like, I'm going through the ship and I'm exploring, and it's doing the tropes of, you're walking and then, whoa, the thing gives out and you slide down and you jump and you use your rappel and you get over there. And then it's, oh man, how do I get up there? You look around and like Kay's blaster can either be red for kill or blue for this stun shot or electrical interference, right? So it was that, you shoot your blue side of it to power up this battery that moves the elevator and you hop over there and you climb, and there's a bunch of those kind of things, and going to terminals and getting information and trying to restart this and radioing back to the guy on your ship who's, talking you through what your little mission MacGuffin is there, right? But I love that exploration. And then, of course, obviously bad guys show up and you have to hide and you get into the firefight. And then guess what? The whole thing is going to explode. So now it's one of those sprint out as the self-destruction is about to happen. And again, great visuals, great, I thought, tension. Like, it felt like I was playing Star Wars, right? And again, the way I connect with Star Wars is the games. And so far, that's been mainly the Jedi ones. But it's nice to have this different look at the universe and this different thing of her and her assembling the team. The demo ended running out and bumping into basically ND, the robot you heard her talking to at one point, right? And him helping you, but you're not sure, but clearly he's going to become a companion on this ship and be part of the mission. Loved it. Like, this is my first time jumping into this world, and it was how great the HUD looks, how awesome it is to have the text pop up there, to feel like you're wrapped up in that Star Wars universe, right? Mike, one of the things you comment on, and you know how much I love in many a game when we talk about Starfield all the time, the lockpicking, right? Like, they're doing their own thing. You saw it in the demo really quickly on one of them, right? Where the first things they talk about are your data spike and your splicing tool. These will be the 2 different ways to, like, what you're doing at a computer terminal to hack it, or a lockpicking deal, right? The lockpicking they showed, and I think it looks boring as shit to watch, but the idea when you're playing it is it's doing a rhythm, and you have to then match the rhythm. So it's like a rhythm game of, like Simon Says, of it's good doing the beat, and then you have to do it in beat with it. Barrett, you're so good at B-roll. So I don't think this looks interesting, but playing this, especially dropping in and being like, great job to the demoist who did not help me, but I read the description, I'm like, okay, and then you like third try get it. I'm like, oh, that's fun. I like that. Same thing, they didn't show it here. Their hacking of a system game, right, is basically Wordle, where it pops back up and it's got all these different glyphs on cubes, right? And it's at least the ones I did. I think this is not speaking incorrectly, but it's 3 blank spaces to fill in, right? So you put them in there and it'll light up green if it's in the right place. It'll light up yellow if it's the right letter but not there, and gray out if it isn't. You only have so many tries. The ones I did were super basic, but like I assume later on when it's actually a wordly kind of game, I'm like, oh, that's going to scratch the itch. And there's accessibility options where it's like, if you don't want the glyph, you can just do numbers and turn it on, a whole bunch of different things. It's right there. Like when you get introduced to the game, it'll do this. And I think there's even a more advanced mode that it talked about, but I was like, let's not get crazy just yet. And sadly, as a huge nerd, I wasn't doing a ton of that. So I was like, I want to do more of that, but it was to see stuff.
What sort of customization?
Hard to say. I did not have the full suite, nor with the time limit of 20 minutes each. I really didn't kid around with it. I did jump out. I know you can change your blaster's color and stuff like that, and there's skins for that. I didn't have anything unlocked, though. I think what happened is I hit customization square, and it was like not installed kind of thing, gotcha. Where there was nothing to do. It is there, so we'll see what you do with it. From there, the next one I did, I jumped into the relic. This is, you have to go get this relic, so you're sneaking into an enemy base, right? I think the cool thing I would tell you that this one shows a bit of, but really it'll be the dogfight one, False Flag, is the fact that the game, like I said, feels like playing a movie, and it definitely feels like you're never leaving Kay's side. You're never, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's one shot the entire game, obviously, whatever, but it is the idea of like, all right, here's this mission. You need to sneak in. You need to infiltrate. You need this. So you start outside, and it's a snowy planet, and she's got her big coat on or whatever, and you walk up to the gate, and the guy's like, get the fuck out of here. You get blah, blah, blah. And so then it's like wandering around the sides, trying to figure out my way in, and then, okay, I'll go over here, climb up here. Oh, there's a little heating vent or whatever. Go in there, start exploring through, get out, pop out, boom. There's other people there, but they're not like weird. It's not weird that you're inside yet. And then, go all the way and get into this like trophy room, blah, blah. I was having trouble with the stealth. Again, 20 minutes. I didn't want to screw around in each one of these missions. So I was like, the guy would walk and then I'd be like, all right, cool. Like, I'm not going to wait for his walk cycle. Clearly there's going to be, like every other game, there's going to be plenty of time to get there. And I would try to crawl to him and no, he would turn around and I'm in a giant gunfight in there. But then I would find vents and stuff. I'm like, oh, there would have been cool ways to do this if I hadn't immediately triggered it and shot him. Again, I can't speak to even what difficulty I was playing on. I did find combat very easy. Like I wasn't having trouble getting everybody killed. Again, it's Star Wars, so I don't think that's like crucial to it. It felt good to do it. I enjoyed shooting. I enjoyed what I was doing, blowing up canisters like they were showing you there.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. This year is going by so quickly. I'm literally getting married this month, so I know all about that. When life goes so fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments to the rest of your year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit betterhelp.com/kindafunny today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindafunny.
But you get the relic, crawl back out, fight your way out, blah, 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 bing, blah, boom, right? And then you go off and, you deliver it to it. You get to have this conversation with the queen. You also have to talk your way in there and do a few different things. But again, it was the journey of doing it. And then also the journey of getting there, or where it wasn't like, do it, fast travel, I'm there. Something, we talk so much shit about, understandably, because it is immersion breaking for Starfield, right? This one really wants you to be so far anchored in the boots of Kay and what you're doing and going off on it. But I make the choice, right? And it pops up and it's like, oh, well, you've gained this with this crew, but lost that with that crew because now they're mad for you helping.
Were you, real quick?
Yeah, please.
While you were deciding to not do fast travel, were you getting distracted by anything off on the side?
And see, that's what I'd like to go to next. I think I'm using this correctly, and I'm fairly certain. I just want to make sure. So the one where they were like, okay, cool, false flag. It's going to be about dogfighting. I'm not the biggest dogfighting fan, period, in
cat
this.
Fighting.
I love cat fights. So I was like, okay, I don't know. I saved it for last. I had plenty of time. I went in to do it, right? And this is the one that I found most impressive in a proof of concept, and I can really see what the other missions were like starting me in from, right? For that one I just talked about, you start already on the planet, about to approach the thing. You're like, okay, that's cool. The one that was the wreck where you meet ND, right? When you finally get away from the guys and meet the robot, he's like, I'm going to hold them off. You go. You run and you jump on your speeder, and then the demo ended, right? This one was, we start on the Imperial ship. We're there. I forget what the reason was, but I didn't see that part. But we're already up there, right? And it's about sneaking, doing the thing, blasting the bad guys, taking out a bunch of stormtroopers, activating the thing to get your ship for you to get out, right? You go down, you get down there, you activate the cargo thing to move, and like you're holding off the guys, and then they're finally done. And it's like you sprint, you get on your ship, and this is where like, all right, you're on your ship, like take it out of port and go. Get in the dogfight, shoot all these different things, right? Then you come in and land, which they showed there. They show in this demo, right? And you're landing in Toshara, or the planet Toshara. The city is Mirogana. You land there, get out, and again, I don't know. Nobody does, obviously, because we don't have the final game. If every planet's like this, if I'm doing the side stuff and it feels this good, even to pick it up, holy shit. Because this place was bustling. Like it was, you're walking through and it feels real of like, there are people over there gambling and watching something. There are people over here talking about Sakar or whatever the card game is, Sabak, talking about that, doing that. Like it felt like, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here and side conversations. And again, a plethora of NPCs that have nothing really going on. But then it was walking and there's this gambler over there or whatever. And like I walk towards him and I forget, he must have an icon. Maybe I hit R3. Interact R3 on this game, which I thought was interesting. Like on doors and everything else, clicking in R3 to interact, to pick stuff up. Walked over to this dude though, and she's like, oh, I'm from a casino planet. I know that look. And he's like, oh, I lost everything, but it was one harvest value.
Mike, I'm going to say interact to E, by the way.
Oh, no, you get out of here. But then it's like the option pops up of like, you know, fuck off and do nothing, give him a little bit of money, give him a lot of money. Oh, okay, gave him a ton of credits. And I'm like, you know, go ahead, you know, have another round on me. And he's like, oh, thank you so much. He's like, I swear I'm going to win so much. Come back and check in on me later or whatever. And I was like, I was like, damn, that's a cool teaser for if I'm coming back to this planet all the time or the spaceport, or even if I'm not, if I just forget about it and come back way later. But then, you know, made my way over to wherever I was going, and it's a bar, and there's
Make it
this
feel
and
dynamic,
stuff.
baby.
It felt like a real place, and so I'm really hopeful that yes, when it is, I asked the demoist who had to go get somebody else. Is this like, are these side missions? Are these main missions? These were Golden Path missions, so that, you know, they're going to have that high bar of quality. But I am fascinated to see what I pick up along the way and what that does to me as I go.
We got a couple of super chats here for you. Kebab says, Greg, is Outlaws always in ultra wide? Because there's the letterboxing going on.
I did not notice. I couldn't tell you.
I feel like everything we've seen of it has been. I wonder if the demo was, or if that's more of just a presentational thing.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I kind of imagine they'll stick with it because it does give it a unique kind of vibe, and I think adds to that cinematic Star Wars nature to it all.
I doubt they will. I don't know. But then I was surprised at Hellblade too. Yeah.
I wonder if it's just a setting, right? Like it'd be such a weird choice to force the letterboxing the entire time.
Make it feel like a film.
Like I get that, and I get what they're going for, but as a video game, it just feels weird to me that like, because the UI in here is kind of accounting for the letterboxing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's weird.
Greg, in what ways would you say this is a Ubisoft game, and are there ways that you're like it's not?
Well, it's hard to say. Again, like I wish this would have been like I'm dropped into my ship and there's only 3 missions active and you can go to them and figure that out. I don't know what that point-to-point feel is going to be, right? Of like how much downtime do you have and where do you pick the thing and how do you go for it? So it's interesting looking at what we saw today, right? I think as a Ubisoft game fan, you look at that, you're like, oh, I see all that. Yeah, marking the enemies, doing the thing, flying off there. But playing it, I don't know if you could have, if there would have been the hallmarks of Ubisoft. You know what I mean? I don't know if there would have been that deal. I think if anything, you could have dropped me into that first mission on the High Republic crash ship, right? And I would have been like, oh, you know what? This must be Respawn. Like I'm climbing up the Star Wars grading. I'm doing this thing there. Obviously, she's not nearly as fast as Cal or nimble as Cal, the Jedi, right? But I didn't feel like this, oh, clearly this is a Ubi game. I didn't get that. And I think that's something interesting for Massive especially, right? Coming off of The Division, now doing this. This is a far different game, and I didn't see that in there either, where I'm like, it's a far cry from The Division. And I didn't see the Division hallmarks in there either.
Rajiv in the chat says that the creative director said you will be able to play in 16:9 or in this ultra-wide.
Great.
So
I'd like to ask about the combat because, to me, when we first saw it, she's shooting from the hip, and it just felt like an odd perspective to me where maybe I won't feel good about that, but you said it did feel good when you were playing
100%.
Yeah, what is that? Because it's just a different look to it all.
Yeah, I think there's some style.
Stylistic Han Solo.
Exactly.
It
That's
just feels
100%. There's a bunch of times where she's shooting and she has her hand up like Han Solo.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a style choice. But you're watching the reticle, you're not watching her.
Okay. And that charge shot, what was that like?
It's good. You know, it's the special ability down there on RB, as you can see on the screen right now, right? That's the one that will knock out anybody.
Okay.
But it needs a while to recharge. So the idea is that, you know, you're using the blue to shoot robots, using the red to shoot humans, right? Give them more charge, but that big charge can knock out other people. Again, as much as I messed up stealth the 2 times I did, because I'm like, I want to see what the melee chokeout is. I want to get close to on that. But then they turn around. I'm like, damn, you're turning faster than I thought you would. Which is exciting in a way. Like I love stealthing in a game like Assassin's Creed, but I also think that's always when you're like, oh, this is such a fucking video game. Where I'm laying in the weeds, whistling at you. You come at me.
Any final thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws?
I can't wait for more. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I hope there's I mean, it's close, right? August is not far away whatsoever. So if they're going to give more, I hope it's hey, come over and play for 3 hours and just do what you want from the start of the game. And if not, I hope they show nothing else and the game is as good as it seems today.
Very exciting stuff.
It looks fantastic.